Shit, make it rain on this. Show you crack. Yeah, I'm in this.
Oh, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? It's your dude, Uncle Leroy. Don't say the Leroy without the Junior. And yes, sir, we are live on this Tuesday. What is it? Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday.
That's how we doing it out here at STWF Studios, world-class studios out here in Arlington, Texas. And just like the song said, we're going to make it rain. I got my guy, Rich Secrets, in the building, tapped in, man. What's down?
Man, yeah, man, nothing much. You know what I'm saying? We out here. We out here today. You know what I'm saying? It's like 8:30 p.m. out where we at Central. Yup.
Facts. Okay, timestamp, right? You did. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm with that. He like timestamp me, man. So, you know, we hear a lot, man. It's like the guy, the myth, the legend. You know, we hear so much about you, man. You're doing a lot of great things in the streets out here, you know, period. You know, so tell us, you know, where you from? Where you came from?
Memphis this year.
Okay.
Memphis this year. Yeah.
Home of the barbecue?
Yeah, home of the barbecue. You know, a lot of people think that they barbecue really just hitting on something is until they go to Memphis. They try that. Even the wings, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm just saying, yeah.
Okay. Oh, we throwing the wings out there and everything, huh?
Got the sauce.
So out here in Dallas, you know, we big on barbecue now. So hey, we some barbecue people out here in Texas, and it's crazy that I say we, and I'm from New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? So all my New Orleans people, y'all don't come from. You know, it's still to the bone gristle. But we gonna circle back round to this barbecue, man. So you know, do y'all barbecue with smoke, or do y'all barbecue with charcoal?
Now, see, that's a good question. We actually barbecue more with like charcoal. You know what I mean? You got most people that grill mostly with charcoal. You know what I'm saying? Not where we from, but you got some people that's real good. You know what I mean? Grilling with gas. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a hand for hand. But one thing I can tell you is though, if you get us on the grill, you know, we gonna make something nice. We gonna make it lick your fingers. You know what I'm saying?
All right. So y'all want the smoke out there, huh?
Yeah. We want all the smoke. Yep.
I like that. So what is the difference between Memphis style ribs, St. Louis style ribs? Like, you know,
that's crazy. You brought up St. Louis because I went out to St. Louis probably like a year ago. I went to St. Louis a year ago. And everybody was telling me when I was down there, you gotta try the barbecue. You know what I mean? I went out there and I tried the barbecue. You know, I tried some ribs. I tried some ribs. I tried some brisket. I tried a couple of different things. You know, they got the sauce. They
can
got
get
the
down?
sauce. Yeah, they got the sauce. St. Louis got the sauce. Yeah, they got the sauce, but it ain't hitting like Memphis. It ain't hitting like Memphis. It's just not hitting like Memphis. You know, you gotta try the Memphis barbecue. You know.
Man, okay, look, shout out to my guy Fernando. He said, "Stop, bro. I'm getting hungry." You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Fernando. We see you tapped in from Facebook, man. We appreciate you. But so what is your go-to? I'm gonna ask you. So what is your go-to barbecue? Is it the brisket, the hamburger, the wings? Like, what is it?
My go-to barbecue would probably be ribs. Really, it'll probably be ribs. If it wouldn't be ribs, then I would have to say like most people probably wouldn't find it like all that. But I like a nice piece of bologna. That's older, that's older grill. They like bologna, but look, I'm telling you, when it's barbecue just right, it got the sauce up on it. Like, hey, listen, I eat it with some bread and I'm good. Like, bologna, I ain't gonna lie.
Okay, bro, you can't just
ribs because I really don't even like the wings on the grill like that. I like wings like your fried majority. You know what I mean?
What?
Yeah.
So all your Memphis people know about this? They know how you feel about this, man?
They probably think something different of it. You know what I'm saying? They probably got their own little thing, but mine is either you got the bologna, that sauce well, and then you got the ribs that's done with. And I really end up liking like the beef ribs more than the pork. You know what I mean? Like,
oh wait, don't tell me you on some salami. I mean, no, man, what's going on, man?
It's about the pork and the beef, but it's just like one of them tastes better than the other than me. Yeah,
Fact. Look, you know what I'm saying? Fact, like for real. So we got Kiona Liani. Forgive me for messing up your name. Like, hey, I'm trying. Like the old folks say, bless my heart. You know, I'm trying. So she says we know about it. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, okay.
Well, what y'all know about?
Yeah.
Drop that in the chat. We want to know what y'all talking
Yeah,
about.
for real.
Oh, fried.
know.
Okay, so we got Bradley Epstein. So we tapped in with Facebook. He says fried bologna sandwich is fire.
Yeah. Oh, he said what?
He says, so Bradley, he says fried bologna sandwich is fire.
Fried bologna. I don't know about the fried bologna. I ain't never even tried that fried bologna.
See, hey, see, look, he must be from the country, man. You know what I'm saying? He hit you with the fried bologna, but no cap. I heard that like some bologna is really good. I've had, I haven't had the smoked bologna or any type, but I'm traumatized as a kid. Because we ate too much bologna because we couldn't get the ham sandwich.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
see,
saying?
yeah,
So it was like I had to watch the adults eat the real meat, the ham, the turkey, the chicken, while us kids, we had to eat goddamn bologna.
Yeah, you done tried that fried turkey before though?
Yeah,
deep fried turkey.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
With it BOLOGNA. I'm sorry, I'm that old. You know what I'm saying? I am that old. But man, okay, all right. So you're telling us a little bit about yourself. You're from Memphis. From the Memphis area. You had to get out there or something. Like, how was the life like in living in Memphis?
I mean, really like the lifestyle, everything really I became like familiar to living out in Memphis because I just came out to Dallas, Texas 2 years ago. So born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee area, I know everything it is to be in every part of Memphis. You know what I mean? And
so you real Memphis, what you trying to tell?
Yeah, real Memphis. Yeah, to the core. I see if I lived there like 10 years. When I was 10, I moved over here, but no, I've been living there my whole life. And I mean, I pretty much got familiar with everything down there. It's not too much of like, once you live and you're born and raised down there, I feel like a lot of things just get familiar to you and you just like, it kind of get boring. You get boring, you know what I mean? And then certain things out in Memphis, I feel like it's not really a growth area, like a growing area. We got a lot of artists and a lot of people that got talent inside the city. They just got to get discovered. You know what I mean? They just got to get discovered.
I understand it, but I mean, because it's like we fought have a similar upbringing in New Orleans. It's like, people be like, how you get tired of New Orleans? Because shit, I go outside, I get hacked by the police. I get, go to the corner, my car might get jacked. I might get jacked. You know what I'm saying? The stuff gets old. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you just in a pot or a bucket full of crabs that's just trying to fight for the same little piece of scrap meat, because we also have artists, great artists, rap artists, poets, R&B singers, but it's only the certain ones that make it. It's like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's real. The ones that I feel like the ones that do make it is the ones that try the hardest inside the city. They try their hardest to get known. You know what I mean? Like whatever they doing, whatever field they doing. You know what I mean? You try hard enough in the city of Memphis, everybody know you from Memphis because everybody love Memphis because the artists that come out of it.
Facts. I mean, talking about the art, you can't talk about Memphis. You can't talk about the art. You can't talk about any music scene without talking about one of the GOATs from there. And that's Young Dolph.
Yeah.
So man, like, how did the city go crazy over the loss of Young Dolph, man? Like that was a big hit to the music scene, to the culture, to everyone. So this is my first time ever really being this close to someone from Memphis, so I want to, can you just, how was it,
I mean,
how did the city mourn his loss?
I mean, it was hectic because I mean, we only got like from Memphis, you got so many artists that come out of Memphis, but you gotta understand the background of it. The background of it is you got labels. You only got so many labels that are like taking the people up from Memphis. And those two like actual like labels, I wouldn't even say labels, but I'm just say brands, right? You got CMG, which is Yo Gotti in them, and then you got Young Dolph in them, which is PRE. Those were the two that were mainly known from Memphis. So if you got a hot artist popping from Memphis, it's either CMG snatching them or you got PRE snatching them,
That's how it is with New Orleans. I mean, we had the Cash Money records at one time, then we had the No Limits, so it didn't matter, if you wanted to get to that next level, it was one of the two.
Exactly.
It's like, and they put a chokehold on the game. And now it's just like that with Jet Life Records. So we got Currency and Spitter. A lot of people coming from out of New Orleans, they got to go under that brand. So it's like, it's kind of like they got the market cornered.
Yeah, for real, for real. That's the perfect way to describe it. Yep, they got the market corner. Yep.
Man, and talking about cornering markets and everything, man, look, y'all got to look at me in the both of these. This guy knows his stuff. That's why we came on so late. I'm trying to get all these notes like, hey, screw them. Look, let me tell you what that is. So, I mean, we know Rich Secrets, we know what you're about, we know your success. But who is Rich Secrets?
Rich Secrets, and what's so crazy is I came up with the name Rich Secrets off of just doing like records of what I know, like just because I had stumbled upon just business credit and knowing about credit. Period. I basically became like a credit specialist.
Time out. You stumbled upon learning business credit?
I stumbled up on it. I kid you not. I stumbled up on it. Within my process of coming out from, I had already had like a development of an LLC, but I didn't know what it was because while I was in Memphis, Tennessee, I had like an inspection company that I was like a self-employed. I was self-employed with them. They just told me I had to get an LLC. I didn't know what it was, but they said, hey, listen, if you want to work with us, you're gonna have to get an LLC, and that's in order for us to be able to give you work. So I said, okay, cool. Researched LLC, purchased it, sent them information. That was it. I didn't know what I had.
Right.
I didn't know what I had. I just knew I needed one, and I stumbled up on that really, but Rich Secrets really came from me realizing that I what I had and utilizing it. And I was like, Rich Secrets kind of clingy. And Rich Secrets didn't mean, a lot of people think Rich Secrets mean like, oh, he's rich. You know what I mean? But when you really look up the definition of rich, it's just like mean you have a lot of something. You know what I mean? You have a lot of something. And I like to say that I got a lot of things that money can't buy, which means more than money to me.
Hold on. Rewind. Say that again, man. Like
I said that Rich Secrets really come from, a lot of people think that Rich Secrets mean that like, oh, he's rich, he's saying he's a big baller, but it's really just saying when you look up the definition of rich, it just means you got a lot of something. And I got a lot of things that money can't buy. And I feel like that's more than money.
Facts. Facts. And I mean, at the end of the day, in a society where, they like to, we like to research and do all these things. And, how do you think that cultivated into, this brand that you're working toward? Because, Rich Secrets, like you said, words are supposed to be put into action. You know what I'm saying? You gave us the definition of Rich Secrets, but now how did you start putting these into action? Like you just said, you was working in real world. And they said, hey, you know what? In order for you to get paid, you need an LLC.
Yeah.
And then you went and studied it.
Yep.
And, so how did that start? Like, where did that hunger for knowledge and just want to be better than, your circumstances?
I think one thing that a lot of people gonna realize during their lifetime is that like the phase I went through is like, God is gonna always like hit you with like obstacles to try to see if you're gonna like really break through, right? And what happened is I was asking for something, but I wasn't getting it at the time. I was asking for money. I was asking for me to be able to provide some type of value to the world, but in actuality, I realized now that I wasn't really headed towards that. I wasn't trying to do those things that was required. And then what happened was I came out from Memphis to Texas because I had a friend that ended up passing away. This was the wake up moment. I had a friend that ended up passing away. And when he passed away, I came out. I said, I made a decision then. I said, I need to go out. There's two big decisions I made. A decision to come out from Memphis to Texas with that same inspection job that I had. I thought they were going to take care of me. Came out here with no money. I had to stay with a girl that I knew. Coming out here, and what hit me was as soon as I got out here, the job fired me. They fired me. They said no more. Yeah, they said no more work for you. We cutting your paycheck off. We cutting your accounts. No more work. Right.
Wow.
Yep. So at that point, I had to make the second decision, which was I don't need to go work another job because obviously I worked for them 4 years and I did hard work, and they just decided at any moment. I said I didn't want that.
Let's put a pin in that. A lot of people don't understand that because, like you just said, these jobs ain't loyal.
Yeah, for real. These jobs ain't. Yeah, for real. That's real. It's not. I realized that, and I realized that a job you can work. I worked 4 years, but you can work 20 years for a job right when you finna retire, and they decide to cut you off.
Hmm.
And now you didn't wasted 20 years of life with that job, and so I had a decision to make to whether I wanted to be able to depend on myself now, or I can go back to a job and let them take up my time and take up my time from focusing more on myself and my business and developing myself. So, and that's the journey that I end up taking. And the solution to that was, at the moment, I didn't even know that I was going to be able to be where I'm at right now. The solution to that at that moment was actually social media. I knew that
Wow.
I can be some type of influence through social media, and hopefully I would get paid from it. Yeah, hopefully I would get paid from it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, you got a good track record of just stumbling in things. I stumbled
Yep,
into
yep.
bad credit. I was
Yeah.
13 and had lights in my parents had light bills in my name. So
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
but just that's the thing, like you just said, these are rich secrets, and you're dropping nuggets just unknowingly, just from just a general conversation. You was like, you said these jobs, they're not loyal, and it's like you can work all these years and they can fire you. So just imagine how that is, and that's what a lot of employers do. They let you work, and think you get a retirement, they'll fire you or they'll cut you to become part-time.
Yeah.
So that is some really, really good stuff that you actually, you've learned.
Yeah.
Not just what you've researched, like you've told us earlier. You said, hey, researching, rich secrets is, doing your research. You did your research, but now you got stories behind it.
Yeah.
So, what's leading up until, because right now, everyone knows you as the rich secrets guy, giving
Yep.
up these rich secrets, but I'm hearing you got stories to tell, bro.
Yeah, for real. I do. I feel like the power is within the story now, because the story is what's gonna stick with everybody, And this is me realizing that now, that the story is that's all that really matters. The story it's a storyline from when you're born all the way till you die.
Preach.
It's a storyline. So it's like what you want your story to be at the end of that line. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And you know, at that moment, like I said, I felt like something hit me when they fired me to be able to do something greater than what I was doing.
Wow.
Yep. And I knew I had the capabilities from being at the job I was at. Uh, communicating with people and just everybody being able to like me and understand. They were even like, you're a little bit different. You know what I mean? I
Mm.
just didn't fully see it out then. You know what I mean? Didn't fully see it out. You know, and at the moment when I came down to Texas, it was so much going on. Like I said, I always had the entrepreneur mindset.
Mhm.
Always had the entrepreneur mindset, you know. And I was doing cars at first. I was selling cars while I was at that job. So I'm getting the money from the job and I'm investing to try to go flip cars. That wasn't working. So I'm like, okay, the pandemic hit and everybody started getting loads of money from PPP loan. So I'm going inside the auction now and you got people overly bidding on cars. I'm like, no, I can't do this. Ain't no way no 2001 Honda finna sell for no $5,000.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, that shit like
No.
my grandma. That's it for the birds.
Yeah, no. Yep.
Wow. I mean, so what point did you enter that direction? Like, after this, like a lot of us, we're faith. Excuse me. Shout out to my godson. He said, this quote he told me was like, overwhelm is knowing you need to get out the situation, but not knowing how.
Yeah.
So how was it that, you knew to make these these tries, these chances? What made you to start going into these directions?
This is why I feel like God comes in at, because it's like you don't know the direction you're supposed to be going in,
Wow.
but he wants you to keep on moving forward. And as you move forward, like you gonna be more aware of things then, because that everything's already here basically. Before planes was made, all those tools were already here. They just weren't aware on how to make it. So I felt like that because I was in emotion now, because I decided I didn't want to go work a job, I wanted to work on myself. Then that's when the answers started to reveal themselves to me, because I was in motion towards it. It wasn't gonna come quick, but as you in constantly in motion towards it, more and more doors and more, you're gonna become more aware of everything that is already here for you.
Bro, you said something really, really empowering. You was like, I worked on self.
Hmm.
And in my first business, I had a computer repair shop, and it was the
Hmm.
first time I felt like a failure.
Yeah.
That's my biggest fear, is a failure.
Yeah.
But in doing so, the spirit told me like, hey, as long as I live, Texas will live. But the thing is it was saying, hey, seek the kingdom first, and then everything else will follow. Work on self first, and then everything else will follow.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, bro, that is very big. That and I think that. Do you think that should be used as a tool for entrepreneurs? Entrepreneurs starting off.
Yeah, I definitely think that I think that when you work on self, because we got a lot of things that try to distract us from like ourself, like knowing more about, not even just knowing more about yourself, but being able to develop yourself in a like an isolation stage, really. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm,
An
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
isolation stage where you fully working on yourself. And what you'll notice is everything just starts to gravitate towards you that you want when you start working on yourself. We so like outwardly, we don't focus on inwardly, that we focus outwardly. And it's like as we focusing outwardly, then we don't realize we getting distracted,
Hmm.
and then when you focus on yourself, everything you want just starts to get attracted to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely, because
Mhm.
it's just like you said, and that's where to me knowledge is, less important over wisdom,
Mhm.
because wisdom shows, hey, I can put this into motion. Knowledge is just I can tell you what it is,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm hearing, because that's the stuff that works. A lot of people like, hey, you know what, in our cultures, like we're taught is not who you know, is what you know.
Yep.
And as you get, a sin in life, you be like, wait, that has some truths, but it's like,
Mhm.
you know what, it's who you know.
Yep.
And if you start focusing on yourself, then those people will start coming to you.
Right. Right.
And
Real.
so that's why I was like, you can tell that, you've walked that walk. You just
Mhm.
didn't do the research.
Yeah.
And, and I
Real.
think that might be, because right now, the guy seems so relatable. You know what I'm saying? It's like you said, people get a misunderstanding. We see you on TV. It's like, bro, this guy is super rich. I can never touch him. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? It's like, man, he's talking over, but it's like you're relatable.
Yeah.
You've been through the struggle.
Yeah.
You know what it is. So I mean, so like, what is next? Like, what's next for Rich Secrets? I mean, we know what you've been doing. We know the work you've been putting, but what's next?
So I feel like the next stage in my life is I've already been able to get a a a a decent amount of money. I've been able to get a very decent amount of money, and I realized that money really it's not nothing. I get $1 million dropped on me right now. I'm gonna feel the same way I feel right now. But just realizing money is nothing. It's just realizing that it's a tool to like use to like extend the good I do. Extend the good I do beyond my presence right now.
Glory.
Just like we're doing right now on the podcast. It's extending the money I have is only meant to extend the good I do. Beyond my presence. So therefore, my job now is to honestly just live my journey throughout and impact as many as people as possible. And honestly, where there's a good, there's a bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a good side, there's heroes, and then there's villains. I'm the hero, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm fighting against the villains. So I feel like I'm a positive force inside the world. So every single day I wake up and I know that I need to provide a positive force inside the world, enable for it to change. So I'm fighting against the evil. So every day I make sure that I wake up in the pursuit of just my goals and dreams. That way that, I can end up getting there. And the people that, because if I wouldn't, the people wouldn't be affected. They wouldn't be touched if I wasn't in the position I'm in right now. Certain
Right.
people wouldn't be touched. So if I wake up, I just know if I wake up every single day of as a positive force, no matter what it is, the devil is definitely gonna be mad every single day I wake up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Damn, he woke up today.
Yes.
You know?
He woke up in his right mind. You woke
Yep.
up, working on your body, because we've seen some of the clips, we've seen your workouts, you're very, fitness oriented. You're all
Mhm.
about self-improvement. And, and it's just like, I've always had a strong mind, but then I had to start understanding the importance of having a strong body, because when the mind is weak, you need the body to just come, work in, subconsciously.
Yeah.
So everything needs to be, in motion, in
Yep.
synergy.
Yep.
Hey, all the viewers that's y'all tapped in, just don't look at us, hit the chat, let us know
Drop
some of those
something in the
questions.
comments.
Yeah, drop something in the comments, let us know what your questions are, because now this is your first time in, being able to touch him.
Yep.
Whatever questions y'all have, and definitely be on the lookout, is going to be more. Y'all going to see much, much more of Rich Secrets, so definitely get used to them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We out there to touch it,
Yep,
touching the people. So what was, I'm actually, so, we have a lot of, a lot of people want to know about business, want to know about successful business. But, the thing is what would be a general rule of a suggestion? What would be a general suggestion that you would give new and up and coming entrepreneurs?
The first thing that I would honestly give, it would probably be consistency. And the reason why I say consistency, it don't matter what it is, like you decide, like we so used to having everything instant inside the world. We get a text message, it's instant. We plan on, and me being from the hood, I did cars because it's instant money. We on that flip money. You know what I mean? But really, ultimately, like we need to see 5 years down the line. So if you plan on doing something, look at 5 years ahead. Like I'm not gonna get it right now, but 5 years, if I continue this out 5 years, the consistency of it, 5 years, where would I be? Because we not gonna get it right then and there, and I'm realizing that right now from doing 2 years of being on social media, thinking that I was gonna just hit,
Right.
and it never happened. So one thing I know that successful people do inside the world is we are able to think long term. We able to go long term inside the future. You sit back and you think, and we able to go long term inside the future and imagine where we really want to be at. But then we come back to the present, right? And then we realize the short term things we have to be able to do to get to that long term goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's forward planning. Exactly.
Yeah, but it takes that consistency. Short term to really be able to get to the long term. Because in reality, I think the thing that sets successful people and unsuccessful people, the difference between those two is like successful people know what has to be done and they still do it. And it's no really true difference between the two, because the unsuccessful person and the successful person both know what needs to be done,
Right.
but they both don't like it. The only difference is the successful person does it.
Right.
He's a
doer.
Yeah, he still does it even though he doesn't like it. Versus the unsuccessful person that doesn't like it also, but they just really chill, eat a Twinkie, get some honey buns and chips and chill. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Yeah.
So we got Corey Fontaine tapped in with us from Facebook.
Okay.
So Corey asks, I'm trying to start a nonprofit organization and get funding. So what is my next step?
If you're really starting a nonprofit, it's very hard to really be able to get funding for a nonprofit, right? It's very hard. I actually get this question a lot, right? If you're starting a nonprofit, the best thing I can tell you honestly is to be able to really just go ahead and start you something like a corporation or LLC. Keep the nonprofit going and fund it through the LLC or corporation. That's the best thing I could be able to tell you, because it's so hard to be able to get nonprofits. It's more of, when you go into nonprofits, it's more of raising the money versus getting somebody to give it to you. And I honestly get asked that question a lot. You said it's Corey?
Yes.
Corey. Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Corey.
and to that point, because just like you said, I have an LLC, and I had Texas. It was a DBA at the time, and when I had did a STEM class at the University of New Orleans, so I got in contact with the chief technology officer, and she was like, "Hey, are you a nonprofit?" Because they had money for that, So it's like you say, they don't, you can't get money for it.
Yeah.
You just have to know it's there for the most part,
Yep.
And if you're not in that type of, like you say, if you're not in that realm, you will never know where that money is buried. Because that person, she came to me. This is the city of New Orleans, like, hey, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I got money for people that's trying to do what you was trying to do.
Yeah, for real.
And that was just doing STEM robotics classes. So teaching the kids. So yeah, that was a very good question, Corey.
Yep,
Man, really good answer. So y'all keep these questions coming. So we got Dion tapped in from Facebook. Dion Davis. Should I pay back these collections when I believe somewhat I owe so my credit can go up, or should I seek credit repair, DIY?
So you should definitely seek credit repair. I don't advise anybody to pay any of the collections off because I've seen so many being able to be deleted. And if you are planning on paying them off, if you just got two collection accounts that you really just want them to go ahead and get paid off, the best thing I can tell you guys is definitely call them up, and don't, even though your full amount, if let's say that your full amount is like $12,000 to be able to pay off, most people don't know that they can call them and set up and close, right? Close a smaller amount. I would
Oh
suggest you
wow.
call them and say, listen, I got a year saving saved up from my job within a year.
Right,
It's
right.
only $6,000. If the total is $12,000 to pay, I've got a year savings worth of $6,000. This is the only thing I can afford to pay this whole thing off. And they will actually be able to set up an arrangement, not payments. They will be able to set up something where you will be able to pay that $6,000, and it's completely off of your credit. Right. But
Wow.
most people just want to just go ahead and pay it off. They don't know that that's out
Because
there for them.
we've been taught that. It was like, hey, you got a debt, pay the debt.
Yep.
And you know what? Shout out to Donald Trump.
Yep,
He say like, hey, I got a debt, I hide it.
Yep,
You know what I'm
yep,
saying?
yep.
You ain't checking my taxes.
Yep.
So just how it is, it's like these are the rich people's secrets.
Yeah, for
You know what I'm saying? It's like if you don't know about it, hey, is it my bad? Just like, Rama put this out there. Just like, my girl's like, hey, what's your student loan debt? I'm like, no, I'm gonna manage it. And guess what? Years later, student loan forgiveness. So, it's definitely things like that. It's programs, like you said, out there, but you just got to know how to play the game because with these credit debts, they didn't already made their money. They didn't sold that money all to a debt collector, and they making their money, and the money that they gave you is insured. So they making their money three different ways.
Yeah.
So
multiple ways throughout. Yep.
So yeah, that's the rich secrets, man. And it's like that's the stuff that you try to empower us that will listen. Because we don't know. Like look at me again. Thanks to my parents, I had bad credit by the time I was 16.
Yeah.
I had a cable bill, a light bill in my name.
All that,
So how can you teach a donkey that he's a whore?
Yeah.
So, and I think like that's with you rebranding and getting out your stories, not just your secrets.
Yeah.
So definitely people that want more to hear out how you can successfully apply these secrets, tap into your podcast, tap into your live stream, because you know what? Words are words if they're not put in action.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. That's why I say sometimes when I tell some people, I've worked with some people for at least probably a year now, and I go over the things with them. You know what I mean? They know it in their head. They can tell me now. I call them up and they can tell me right now everything I told them, but it's just not put in action. So it doesn't never turn out the way they want to because they haven't started that even first step.
Right. Yeah, I mean, because a lot of people, they don't know how to drive, and the key is in the car. The ignition is ready to be, put in gear.
Ready,
They just not ready, and it doesn't matter if you're trying to tell them the key's in the car. They're not ready. So guess what? They're going to be in fear to drive the car, and then that's what you think they're going to do. Start talking about the car. Now, this is a brand new Mercedes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, that ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the way having to deal with people. Like when I was teaching in New Orleans, I had, I was real big on sending kids to the chalkboard, because I want them to build that confidence until I met someone who couldn't read.
Yeah.
And that child, she was very older than what she was supposed to be in the class. But long story short, she caused commotion, ready to fight. And it's not because my intentions were wrong. My intentions were really good, like yours. You're trying to give good intentions, but these people that are afraid, they're ignorant to what, and they're not open to what you're trying to do. Yeah. That's the ones that's, meeting you with resistance. But, a successful, a boat, a battleship gonna sail, through what terrain, you know what I'm saying? And that's what, and once again, y'all check out these podcasts and these lives, because that's, you're going to show us your ship, how you was able to, get through, because you came from the hood.
Yeah.
So, most people from the hood, you say we can't, that means we can, and we gone.
Yeah, for real. It's like Noah. It's like Noah, you got the ship. I want to make sure I got that right. I'm not too of a religious person, but Noah had animals. You know what I mean? I think he tried to get actual humans onto the to the ship, but they weren't listening to him. Like, no. So he decided to take all the animals. You know what I mean?
Too.
They listened to him. They came on the ship,
Right.
and the ship sailed away and left everybody else ass. You know what I mean? Like you get on
I
the
love
ship
it.
or get left behind. And that's just really how it goes. I'm here, like I said, to do a certain mission, and that's it. For the people that are receptive to what I say, those are going to be the people that actually get the results. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about the results. I'm not worried about how somebody really feels about what I say, how I say it. It's all about the results, and the people that actually turn out to see the results are real.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like that. So,
Yep.
man, time is of the essence. We only got it for so long, man. There's, one thing about rich people's secrets, time is money. So you definitely
Yeah.
know we wasted, we running up a bill on. So y'all get them, all your questions, get them in the chat, man. This is an interactive podcast show. Get y'all questions in the chat.
Yeah, make sure y'all drop, if y'all really hearing us, y'all listening to us inside, make sure y'all drop a fire sign inside the chat, everybody. Instagram, Facebook, make sure y'all drop a fire sign inside the chat if y'all hearing exactly what we saying inside the podcast.
I like that.
Yep. For some reason, I always try to do that when I'm inside of like a live or something like that.
Right.
Make sure everybody paying attention just a good little minute. You know what I mean? They probably looking at it and then they line and but then when you say drop a fire.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Shout out
Yep.
to you, David Monroe. He tapped in with us, man. Appreciate that.
David Monroe. Let's get it. What's so crazy is I was going through the neighborhood the other day. I was just riding through, and it was what most people consider as a rich neighborhood, you know. And as I was riding through the neighborhood, I saw the houses, and I'm looking at every one of these $500,000, $600,000 houses. And one thing I realized all them people had in common was credit. They wouldn't be able to get that house if it weren't for credit. Then I looked inside the driveway. They had multiple cars. They wouldn't be able to get those cars without credit. Majority of those people got all those cars, that house off credit, because you can have all the money you want to, right? But when it comes time and you buying this house, they're gonna say, hey, listen, we gonna have to check your credit score, because your credit score is really what determines you. That's how they determine you as a person, really,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they don't care about how much money you're making. If you're making a meal, hey, listen, your credit score ain't on point, so you can't get this house.
And something about me I always say, to me, rich people see they didn't ask about, your color, your ethnicity.
Yep.
It's credit score.
Mm-hmm.
Rich people don't care about if you're white, black, or whatever.
Yep.
It's all green and credit score,
Yep.
and that's a really good point that you stress the importance of credit, because coming from the hood, I know money, I know cash.
Yep.
I got money under my bed, in my sofa. So you
Yep.
tell me about a bank. I'm like, hell no, I ain't letting these people steal my money.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like
Yep.
the whole concept of me believing, giving my money to someone else, and then I got to go ask for permission to get my money back.
Yep.
So how do you deal with those people? How do you empower people that really, not even apprised to credit or the idea of saving?
I don't really overwhelm them. That's the best thing I would say, because I know I'm from there. I'm from the certain environment and the situation, so therefore I don't want to overwhelm them to where they're not like, oh, this is too much information.
Right.
You know what I mean? It will be in simple steps. That's why I create my videos, because some of my videos you can go through piece by piece and learn the steps, step by step by step by step, instead of me telling you, hey, you need to do this, this is, and they're like, whoa, I don't want to start. That seemed like a long process.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it starts with the bank account, and then it starts with building your credit up, and then it starts with going out and being able to get funded, and then it goes on to your business and how you work your business. You know what I mean? It starts from those pieces, and it's just like we weren't taught any of that, because it's like, even my granddaddy, he's just now recognizing what his credit score is,
What?
Yeah, he just now recognizing what his
Wow.
credit score is, and it's not. I don't take it as a bad thing. I just take it as the environment that we grew up in. You know what I mean? It's just like he didn't really know what he was able to really utilize with his credit. Like, he didn't realize that. I tell a lot of people, it's way easier to be get $100,000 in credit than it is in cash. You know what I mean? And getting it in cash may take you a little bit of time versus a person that can get 100,000 in one day from credit cards, line of credit, a loan.
Mhm.
It's very different. If we had access to that knowledge and money right then and there, it would be crazy.
Yeah.
Everything would be crazy.
And one thing, I tell my kids, my daughter, is like, you can have good credit, but you don't have buying power. The only thing that the highest thing you have on your credit is a cell phone bill.
Yep.
So one of the things that you suggested, I was like, wow, this is great. I think it was a blight card.
Yep.
Whereas you can pay your rent and it, from a debit card, and
Yeah.
it increases your credit score.
Yep. Belt card. Yep.
Belt. Yeah, I
Belt
was
card.
like, that is freaking ingenious.
Yep.
So just different programs like that, helps get you buying power, because at the end of the day, and if you have a 700 credit score and the only thing you've had, on your credit is a car payment that you're just paying 350.
Yeah, for real. That's us. And so with the car payments and everything, that's because it's so many people inside the world that really
Mhm.
just, you got to understand, like, and I don't blame them. It's
Right,
smart
right.
that we just got to think. We got to think bigger. You know what I mean? To
Mhm.
be able to do the exact same thing, but it's like a dealership was made to make profit. It wasn't made to give away cars. So therefore, it's like, all right, that it's gonna be a little bit getting over on. You know what I mean? Because they
Right.
got to make their profit in a way. But at the same time, the reversal effect is you got rich people out in the world that knows how to get around it. They know ways of just like going out and getting a certain insurance policy, and instead of going out and buying and putting the down payment on the car and making the $500 payment every single month towards the dealership,
Right.
I could have used that to be able to go out and be my own bank and be able to withdraw for myself, buy the car out, pay that same $500 I would have did towards the dealership to myself.
Hmm.
But now I'm getting the interest, not the
The other way
dealership.
around. Right.
I'm paying it towards myself. And it's like those are the little things I didn't even know. You know what I
Right.
mean? But now I know within the searching process, we got this is it. Dion.
Dion.
Dion. So they are coming with Fed now. Do you know how this will affect payment? Okay, so what I think about Fed now is, first of all, like, only thing I could tell y'all about that is definitely get ready. Okay, just like the pandemic happened, all these things. If you really look back in history, there are a lot of downfalls that end up happening inside of the world. Where when that downfall happens, you got to realize a lot of people profit off that downfall, and a lot of people lose out on that downfall. You have to be that person. See, the difference is really we got the multimillionaires and the billionaires that get that call before it happens.
Right.
Hey, listen, this is about to get ready to go down, right? This is about to get ready to go down. Everything's about to get ready to shut down. So they got the call beforehand.
Right.
So they the person now on the other side, they making profit off of it. But then
Wow.
you got the people that are unknowing that are getting profit off of. They're the people
Yeah.
losing the money, losing the jobs because they were unaware. That was
Right.
the only thing. So what I really think about Fed now is, and I don't want to say too much on it, but I definitely know that with certain banks that have been shut down so far, and what's going on with the economy, they say they listen. You know, the whole thing they profit off of is fear. They profit off fear, and they tell you that you need to move here and here and here and here. And the best thing I can tell you guys is the government is really not for the benefit of you. Usually, when they tell you to steer right, when they tell you steer left, you want to steer right, okay? Because usually that left is where they're profiting off of you, And Fed now is really just a digital wiring software, right? It's something that's taking over Cash App, but it's only Cash App lets us transfer our cash from the bank account to somebody else's.
Mhm.
Fed now is going to only be letting digital currency go through there. So that lets y'all
Oh
know right
wow.
now, if every bank is going to be interacting with Fed now, something's going to happen to the US dollar.
Mhm.
Something's going to happen to the US dollar. And most people don't realize is if you look all the way back in history, we've had over 300,000, I mean, not 300,000, but over 3,000 currencies that has failed. They failed. So, the currency that we have right now is the US dollar.
Mhm.
It's obviously not doing good. The best thing I can tell you guys is prepare for everything that's going on. Be observant of everything that's going on. That way you can be ready.
Yeah, that's the best way you put it so eloquently. You're saying like they get off of fear.
Yeah.
Just like with Y2K. The technology boom going from '99 to 2000.
Yep.
They were they ruled economy with fear.
Mhm.
What's the funniest thing? Wait, like hold on. When the world went to hold on, when the world went to this, oh wrong,
Mm.
the chip card.
Yep.
You know what was so funny? Someone told me that they thought that the chip in the chip card was a GPS. I was like,
Mm.
what? But like you said, everyone was in fear, like, oh, I don't want my position given away. Well, there's so many things that, you know, um, misnomers that was given out to whereas society can be controlled.
Yeah.
So and how can you control society through religion, through politics, and through currency?
Yeah. And that's the whole point of they have control. See, the only way we're able to really fully get out of control and in a way to where they couldn't control us is first of all money.
Facts.
And money. If they tell me right now we out here in Dallas, Texas, if Dallas, Texas is the first place, if Texas is the first place that gets hit, another pandemic busts out, but the first place they hit is Texas. Well, then they can't control me because I'm able to get ready to go to another country. I have the
Mm-hmm.
money to be able to do that. So therefore, they can't control me. They can't control exactly where I go. They can't control what I say because you have the freedom first.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing of everything is being able to get the money. Money is only being able to be used as a tool. You can't let it overrule you. You just have to know it's a tool to be used.
Right.
You know,
And like that's a powerful point because what as people say, I'm from New Orleans, I'm a Katrina refugee, and during that time, you couldn't use money.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there was no money. You couldn't go to the ATM. So how did people get around? You know what I'm saying? It was all barter, of course, looting too. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, like you saying, if you still idolizing money, when we come to a point where the money is not accepted, you can't get into, you can't get to it.
Yeah.
What is your freedom?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So those are the things, like you say, like once you said it earlier, you started getting this money. It's like, man, it's nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's now you want the ability to touch the people and enlighten the world to where it's, bring light to where the darkness is.
Yeah, for real. And I feel like going towards that of just analyzing everything because even me myself, I can only observe
Mm-hmm.
and prepare to be ready for anything that goes down. But if I don't observe it, I'm never going to be ready for what could be happening.
Bro.
That's why mainly entrepreneurs, the main thought of entrepreneur, you're not just investing into one business. You hear,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, don't get me wrong. You want to spend your energy on one business, but at the same time, you're pouring into a couple of things that just in case something happens,
Mm-hmm.
you still are prepared. So it's like, what if they do that? What if they do end up shutting down banks right out of
Mm-hmm.
nowhere, just like they did COVID, and they just boom shut everything down? Hey, you
Mm-hmm.
bars closed, everything,
Mm-hmm.
all broadcast through the news. What's going to happen if you got millionaires? What was the bank that got shut down? Uh, I forgot exactly which bank got shut down. It started with an S. That bank got shut down, had over $80 billion inside of that bank.
Mm-hmm.
That's $80 billion of different people spread out. They couldn't get their money. They had a
Mm-hmm.
lot of money inside their bank account, and now it's not available to them.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, what do? We got some people had their retirement inside of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they now it's in panic mode now.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they want you at.
Right.
So you got to make sure that you are really like delegating exactly where you putting your money and just entrepreneurship in general. You know.
All right. So, I'm gonna read this question. So we got Jacinta Harrison says, do you know anyone that have transportation business and are they successful?
Yes, I know about two people that actually have a transportation business, and I actually did an interview on my guy that owns he has his own dispatching company and freight company that you know he dishes them out. He dishes loads out with the dispatching company, and he also runs the transportation company. He works with people like Amazon, Walmart, and all those type of different people, and makes a lot of money. He showed me literally on yeah, he showed me.
Wow.
Sometimes you got to show the facts, and you got to show the proof.
Right.
And he showed me exactly on how much he was making throughout dispatching and how much he was making off each freight. And he was making a lot of money. The whole thing is you got to be able to really be able to dive inside that industry and full fledged. That's what you want. You spend your energy on that all until you able to walk away from that business. That's what most people end up going into something like that, and they start getting like their down moments, and they're like, oh, it don't work.
Right.
I'm gonna try another business. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And the whole thing is you keep on going with it. You're gonna discover what you did wrong
Right.
and then do it the right way. But definitely, I know a lot of I know about two people inside of the transportation industry that does very well. And
All right. So
yep.
we got next question.
Hmm.
So we got Lisa Wilson tapped in from Facebook. Given I have no credit, what would be the best way route to start into the new from your perspective?
Okay, so this is what I say now. I'm gonna give you two type of ways this skill because I can give you the stairs and I can give you the elevator, right? You can choose to take either one of those,
Hmm.
but I would rather you take the stairs. If you have no credit at all, so that means you have nothing bad on it, you have nothing good. The best thing that you can do is automatically start adding what we consider as AUs, authorized users, right? Authorized or
Mm.
trade lines. Both of those are the same thing, right? Authorized users, let's say that you have somebody inside of your family. Yeah, and you can do this within 15 days, right? I've did it with so many people now. You can do this within 15 days. You have no credit at all. If you have three people or four people inside of your family that have had a credit card for at least 2 years with positive history, you got to make sure they have positive history and make sure they had at least 2 years of that positive history. You want
Mm.
to go ask them to add you as an authorized user on their card, on their credit card. What's going to happen is whatever their balance is and whatever their payment history is now going to transfer over to your credit history. So you're gonna go from not having credit
Ah.
to now having 2 years worth of credit history to however many people you add on to it. The more people you add on as an authorized user, the higher your credit score go up. I remember just what was this last week, right? I had a guy that had one negative item on his credit history,
Oh
right? One
wow.
negative item. It wasn't bad. I think it was like a medical. We went to the
Oh
hospital.
shit. Damn.
It's
Yeah,
like
that's
a
a
medical bill,
right,
right?
right, right.
I'm like, oh man, you in good. You in the good.
Right.
All you need to do is go throughout your family, you know what I mean, and add authorized users on there. He added three authorized users. He went from a 530 credit score, shot him all the way up to I think a 670,
Damn.
670 within 5 days. That's what's so crazy. Five
Damn.
6 days. It was about 5 6 days credit. So he called me happy. Oh, what? How did this happen? You know what I mean? And
Right,
that's
right.
really the trick to it. And I want to give you the other way to it, which if you don't have, if you grew up like me to where we don't have a lot of people inside of our family that know about credit, right? So they don't have credit cards. They don't believe in
Hmm.
credits. Another thing you can do is you can go out and buy trade lines. So you can go out and buy those authorized users to put onto your credit score. And
Mm.
once you see it shoot up, that's when you go into the next level to be able to get yourself funded. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
You answered that question before you even
Yeah,
seen it. You know what I'm saying? I was right
yeah,
there.
no,
He
man.
was like, "That's not an option for me." I was
Yeah,
like,
told him to give him both ways.
"Dang, Lisa, you need some new friends." Like,
Yeah, yep.
if that's not an option. But nah, just joking with you. But yeah, we understand it, and that's why Rich Secrets is here as going to be doing podcast. You can check his videos out on ways to put that to action.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah,
like
yeah,
she said, it's easy to just talk into the mirror, talk
yeah.
to the man to the mirror. But now,
Mhm.
when the man talk back and say, "Hey, that stuff's not working,"
Yep.
now what? You know what I'm saying? Now you need to, go and figure things out. So definitely, you dropping these nuggets. So we got another one. We got Renee. She says, Renee Buchanan. That's a good name from Facebook. She said,
Mhm.
getting ready to start a cake business. Do it in my name. A lot of people said don't.
Definitely don't do it inside your name, right? If you're talking about developing a corporation or LLC, definitely don't do it inside of your name, right? The best thing that you can do when it comes to that, and I'm not gonna break it down too difficult because, like I say, I have to do it step by step. Don't put it inside your name. The best thing that you can do is really go find out first is if you're in the cake industry, I suggest you go to www.nix.com and find out, research the keyword, right? Whether it's a, bakery, I would say a bakery, research the term bakery and see what all pops up inside of those Nix codes, right? the when you see those categories pop up, you want to select one of those categories and select the NICS code number that goes with that category and connect it with your business, right? And the reason for that is when you're going through, because see, like a bakery business is really considered as a high risk industry. You don't want to be considered as a high risk industry when you're going through and applying for loans, lines of credit, credit cards, all that. So how you get past that is going to Nix, www.nix.com, and finding out the best categories that your business falls into. That way when you automatically submit an application, they won't automatically say, hey, this is a high risk industry and you get denied, right? So don't put it inside of your name. Go to Nix.com, www.nix.com, type in that search term, type in the search term bakery, and get one of those categories, and you go off of that. You go off of that name. You go off of one of those names. Okay. Because I was in the Airbnb industry, right? And when I got inside the Airbnb industry, I had tied my LLC to it had Airbnb inside of it. Because
Oh,
I wasn't knowing about it, right?
right.
I didn't know that was a high risk industry. So any application I submitted underneath there, high risk industry,
Right.
denied, right? When I could have put it instead of putting Airbnb, I could have put travel accommodations,
Right.
you know, and that would have got me more approvals. But yep. Things I
Man,
wish I knew.
you look, you in
Things I
your
wish I
bag,
knew.
in this big bag in there
Yeah,
today.
things I wish I knew. Yeah, for real.
Facts. I mean, that's the stuff that people need to know. That's the stuff that needs to get out. So I know your time is very valuable, but so we're gonna take a few more questions. So we got
Yep.
Felice. But forgive me if I'm messing up your name. So she says, if you have an LLC in your name, can you change the name?
So I usually don't see people being able to really change the name, change the address, the phone number, the email to it. It doesn't really give you the option when you go on, because the only way to be able to change the information is your annual report. And it doesn't usually give you the option to be able to change your name out, because usually when the LLC is formed, it's formed with the name,
Right.
so you can change the information on it, but you can't really change the name that was
Right.
developed when you got it, you know. But yeah, that's the only things you can really change when it comes to when you creating the LLC or corporation. It's the name, address, and phone number that's tied to it, which are those are the three top things that also get people denied a lot, right?
Yeah.
You said Felicia. Yeah, for Felicia.
All right. So
Yep.
do appreciate that. So Lisa, she had another question. So she said, do I trademark my name prior to going to trade line supply?
Now, okay, so when it comes to trademarking, I wouldn't really suggest, and this is my opinion, I wouldn't really suggest people trademarking the name before you actually start to see momentum within your business, right? Unless you know that it's something that really has a want inside of the world, like everybody needs this, and you know that they're going to be able to, then trademark your name, because trademarking usually costs around like 12. I've seen go $1,250 all the way up to probably about like $3,000. I've seen.
Facts.
And that costs a lot of money when you first starting off. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I
That's something
trademarked.
big to worry about. Yeah, that's something big to worry about. But if you definitely think you got a household business that you don't want anybody, when you come out with it, somebody's going to be able to try to take that, definitely trademark it. But otherwise, until you start seeing momentum come throughout your business, then you should probably go ahead and get everything trademarked. You know,
That was real talk. I mean,
yeah,
because they asked that question during the trademark. Hey, have you made money off of this?
yeah.
How long have you had that? And you also have some protection. When you're doing a DBA on some LLC. So
Mhm.
your name still has some type of protection. So you're not
Yep,
out there just willy nilly.
yep.
But yeah, like that was a really good nugget you said. Wait till it gets some momentum, because it's cheaper to start an LLC than a trademark.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah. Yep,
All
for real,
right,
yep.
so we got here Ron Gel tapped in from Facebook. He says, "What's the top 5 things you need to put yourself in position to buy a 500 to 700K house? Credit score, money saved, income."
Okay. All right. Ask that question for me one more time.
Right, that's what I'm
That's
saying.
a real
I'm
guy.
like,
I
this
like
is a
questions that make
specific
me really
question,
think.
right?
Yeah, I like
Like,
questions that make me think.
all right, so he says, "What's the top 5 things you need to put yourself in position to buy a house that's worth?" I just paraphrase it, 500K to 700K.
Okay. So I wouldn't even say it's 5 things that you would need to be able to do that, right? First thing that you need to make sure that you get done is make sure you get any negative items wiped off your personal credit, right? They're going to be going off your personal credit score. That's the main thing you need to know. And they're also going to be going off the debt to income ratio, right? They're going to be going off those two things. So it could be two ways. It could be split up two ways. I've seen a lot of people that when they want to be able to go out to a house, they have too much debt. They got too many cars underneath their personal name. And they're like, hey, listen, you got too much debt really for us to give you this $500,000 house.
Right.
So you can't go that route. And you also can't have a lot of negative items on your personal credit. So that's the first thing. You want to make sure everything negative is wiped off your personal credit score. Next thing, after that, we probably going to settle this with either 3 or 4 things. Okay, less than 5. Second thing you want to make sure is you add at least, right? You want to add at least 6 to 7 positive accounts onto your personal credit. And this is the thing when it comes to buying a house. It could be in forms of credit cards, right? Lines of credits. But I really suggest some people to really be able to go out and get higher debt than that, right? Like just a little bit higher. So let's say that you go out and you get a note from a car, $30,000, right? You got $30,000 note from a car on your personal credit score. You got that reporting as a positive history. And then you have 3 other credit cards of 2 years. This is what a lot of people don't understand is these people really, the banks, the creditors, the lenders, the people that's actually trying to be able to give you a house, they're trying to be able to see history. You can't have a credit card and had it for 2 months and they expect, you know what I mean? They expect, they want to see at least 2 years of positive payment history on their credit card. So if you have at least 3 credit cards tied to your profile, positive credit history, I just told y'all how y'all can get that with the elevator, or you could take you could take the long route and get a credit card and wait 2 years, or you could decide to go out and buy that credit card line and it already comes with a 2-year history on it. You know, that's the elevator part to it. So you get those 3 credit cards and you get something pretty big. Student loans really work out a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of people think student loans are real like negative. It's not something that really reports negative on your personal credit report. So you go out and get those 3 credit cards with at least something of a high amount there, like a car note, and the mortgage would be something that helps out. But that's just something else I'm naming. That's what you're trying to be able to aim after. But you get those 3 things. You get those 4 things added on. Then you'll be able to go out and be able to receive that amount for $500,000 to $700,000 house, right? Especially if you're going into there with a 740 or higher credit score, right? And you got those positive accounts reporting on your history without anything negative reporting. That's going to be easy for you, right?
You know, one thing that you said that stood out was the history, you know, because at the end of the day, you know, a lot of people that come into quick money, you know, like rappers, they get signed, you know, sports athletes, people that win a lotto, but I got all this money and they try to buy this house, but they don't have no history. So that's when they go and try and get their grandmothers, someone who has these, you know, this strong history, credit history, they get them a cosign. So that was the biggest thing I like. That was real talk. You got to have the history.
Yeah, that's for real. Usually when we talk about cosigning, the example I like to give is when I'm telling people it's a different side about the personal and business. But most people got to understand that the personal is the most important part, because if you want to really get your business, if you really want to see some numbers when it comes to your business, you better get that personal.
Facts.
You better get the personal right, because that's what's going to be able to allow your business. Is just like you said, they're going to ask the grandma to come get cosign.
Right.
Well, the business is just like your baby. Right? When you birth a baby, the baby's gonna come with no credit history, no financial history, nothing. So when that baby turns 18, if that's the same way, and he decides to go out to the dealership and get a car, the dealership gonna say, listen, you ain't got no credit history at all. You ain't got no financial history.
Right.
We can't give you anything. So therefore, you got to find a co-signer to do this. Same thing works on that personal side. If I start a business 2 weeks from now, same thing. If I start a business from 2 weeks from now and I got good personal credit, well, guess what? My business, my baby needs me to be able to go over and co-sign this business and say, listen, I'm the person that got the good personal credit, so I'm a co-sign for my business.
Wow.
And you'll be able to get funded.
Right. So shout out to Ron J. Says, thank you. Appreciate the answers. So appreciate that. So
Yep,
we
yep, yep.
got Bo Bill May. I just went straight country.
Yeah,
Bo
Bo Bill
Billy
May. Bo Bill
Balding.
May.
So he says, got to leverage your personal.
Mhm.
And so, we're gonna maybe end on that one. So how would you leverage your personal? What do you recommend people, leveraging their personal credit?
I really don't even suggest people leverage their personal credit. I suggest you get your personal credit right and leverage your business credit. Because one thing about business credit and personal credit is first of all, on the business side, you're able to get way larger amounts than the personal side. Because if I'm going over and applying for a credit card on the personal side, I might get 5 grand. But I go over here on the business side, I maybe get 50 grand.
Mhm.
And the good thing about it that the rich know is that when I go over here to the business side, it's never going to report to my personal,
Right.
right? So I can get these very large amounts, and I never have to worry about it impacting my personal. So what a lot of people usually do is they switch over to the business side. They get everything inside of the business name, the credit cards, the cars, everything inside of the business name. You've heard the term that the rich control everything, but they own nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So the concept of that is that they don't own it because their business owns it, but at the same time, their business own it, and it's not in their personal name. Meaning nothing is in their personal information, right? But they're still able to control it because they own the business.
Right.
So if I'm that person that goes over and gets everything inside of my business name, and none of that is going to ever affect my personal, then it's like, that's the best way to be able to leverage. Yep,
Right.
for
For
real.
real.
Yep. You never have to be able to use it. And most people sit aside their personal.
Mhm.
When you go to the personal credit side, you have to start developing the personal to be able to go to the business. So I might get about 5 personal credit cards, but after a while, you got that business side. You got 5 business credit cards over here, right?
Mhm.
You utilizing them because they have a higher limit. You could put these to the side and still make
Right.
money off those personal credit cards. You know what I mean? Because people still need authorized users, like I just said.
Right. Right.
Yep.
Nice. So, all right. So, a lot of things, this is a myth going
Yep.
into
Yep.
business. So, I've seen people do this, they try to get these business credits. So, what they try to do first, and it's been told, people say, go out and try and get a gas, fuel card, credit card.
Yep.
So, what do you think about that? Is that a good approach to trying to establish business credit?
So this is a thing that most people don't really open up the broader spectrum of business. There's you creating a business and building business credit, right? You got the personal side, which you're building personal credit to be able to get the business credit, and then you have the corporate side, which is
Mm,
yeah. So this is what we consider as a corporate business credit.
okay.
This is what builds your business to be able to stand alone.
Damn.
Because so majority when I go to Chase, when I go to Wells Fargo, when I go to all these different banks, they want a personal guarantee. No matter if it's your business, they want to see your personal credit to be able to personal guarantee you for your business credit cards,
Makes sense.
right? So how you rearrange that to where I never need my personal credit again is the corporate rate. You got
Okay.
corporate credit cards,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have regular business credit cards, right? If I'm using the corporate credit cards, that's solely focusing on building my business credit and building my business to where I no longer have to use my personal anymore. I can walk in the Chase and they say, "Listen, we don't have to look at your personal credit score. Your business can stand alone
Damn.
without any." Yep, yep. That
Wow.
was actually a great. Yeah, that was a great question. That made me think. That made me think, yeah, yep. It made me think. Yep.
Nice, nice. All right, so we about to get off get off air. So anything you want to tell, tell the viewers, like, man, the chat's been blowing up. Definitely appreciate y'all tapped in. So y'all definitely can expect more of this concept. Y'all are touching rich secrets, man. Get these questions out. Definitely. So what do before we before we get up out of here,
Yeah.
anything last minute parting words?
Yeah, so definitely for the people that's watching all the way to the end, if it's one thing I know about y'all is that y'all actually want the information and you want to be able to apply the information. But know that it's going to take, like I say at the beginning of the podcast, is that you don't want to look for the instant. You don't want to look for that instant hit. You want to look for the $100,000. All this stuff is not better to be able to come overnight. You got to be able to look at the long term goal of it and where would I be in 5 years? And consistently, your short term, what you do in the short term moments are going to prepare you for that long term goal, right? The long term goal is not going to just come overnight or come within the next week.
Facts.
You have to consistently be able to build those things up to be able to get to that long term. So the main thing I can tell y'all inside of her is just stay consistent or get in that momentum and don't let the momentum stop. A lot of us let a lot of us let how we feel control us on what we actually do, and the truth is we shouldn't let our feelings control what we are doing, what we're supposed to do, because we truly know what's supposed to be done to get to where we need to be. But we let things that happen to us outside of us, of in the exterior world, right? We let those things affect us and affect how we keep our momentum going. You can't let that happen. You just have to know what needs to be done and do it. There's a very different, see, this is a player versus player game, everybody. Player versus player game. Understand this. We in the world right now, it's a player versus player game. If you decide to be that player that moves off your feelings, every time you get affected by something, when somebody hurts your feelings, when something traumatic happens inside of your life, and I understand deaths, that's something that's able to be able to, you have to sit and really reflect off that. But small things that affect you throughout your life, your car getting your tire end up getting busted, you letting that affect your day. You have to keep on moving and not let those things affect you. And going back to what I said, let me go ahead and finish that out. It's a player versus player game. If it's me versus you, I will be the person that wins because I don't move off my feelings. I just know what has to be done. I wake up in the morning and I start doing, no matter how I feel. So majority of people may not know how I feel in this podcast, but you wouldn't be able to know because I just do. I just know what needs to be done, and I do what must be done. That's very different from a person that reacts off their feelings. And at the end of the day, when it's player versus player, I'm going to be the person that comes out with the win instead of you because you reacting off your feelings. And this is what they want you to do. This is what the world really wants you to do. They want you to be controlled by your feelings, how I feel.
I like that,
Yep.
and definitely. So Felice, she's saying profound. Bo Bill, he says great content. Rangel says I have more questions, just don't want to question you to death. So, and yes, I'm gonna answer that question, Rangel. So yes, he is, and that's what you're seeing in front of you. You're starting to see the evolution of Rich Secrets. You're seeing that, So the Rangel asks, Kai, are you going to keep going beyond becoming a billionaire?
Yes, I'm definitely going to be becoming beyond a billionaire. I know I'm becoming beyond a billionaire because it's just it's born for me. It's born for me. It's just born
Right.
for me. The more money I have, the more I'm able to, like I said, extend the good I do. I know I'm a positive force inside the world. We all got our negatives, and where there's negative, there's a positive. But I know I wake up every day on a positive force. I'm building my positive force towards the earth, and getting $1 billion is just $1 billion.
Right.
When I hit 100,000 followers, when I first hit 100,000 followers for the first time, what's so crazy? I said, I'm happy. And that was temporary. The same thing happens with our feelings. It's temporary. You just have to know it's temporary. When something hits me, this is a temporary feeling. So I still have to keep on moving. Right.
Nice. Well said. Well said. So, this we're gonna get the start of, your podcast. So you know what? You
Great way
close
to
out the
start
show.
off.
You
Great way
close
to
out the
start.
show.
Yep. All right, everybody. This is your boy Rich Secrets. This is the Rich Secrets Effect podcast. I appreciate everybody for coming on for this live. And make sure y'all tune in next week. We're going to also be having live after live again, y'all. And what's going to be so special about next live is we're actually going to have a call in where y'all can directly call in and speak to me. And we'll be able to get your questions answered. However many, if you want to be able to question me to death on the phone, we'll be able to you'll be able to question me to death, all right? And we're going to get them answered on the next podcast live, y'all. I appreciate everybody for coming in. Hopefully, y'all got a lot of gems from what I said. And we're going to take a lot of people to the next level for the next podcast.
What's up? Yeah. Peace.